Hello everyone. In this tutorial I'm going to demonstrate the REST API for the export and import. So this feature was delivered from 12.7. so we now have REST API for different functionality, and one of which is the export and import. So basically what this means is, using REST API you can now perform XPS export and import remotely. So you do not have to log into the police server box and perform the export and import. Alright, so let's get into the demo. So first thing is, you will need to log into the admin UI. So here I have already logged into my admin UI. So this is the 12.7 admin UI, and yeah, so the purpose of this demo would be to export a sample domain using the REST API and perform the import of the same domain using the REST API again. So I have, for saving some time, I have already created a test domain, as you could see here. So it's just a basic domain with the user directory linked into it, and it has one realm, and that realm has two rules. One is for get post and one is for not accept, and policies linking those rules and the users, and one custom response. So just a general domain, and this domain uses few reference object like test agent, and it also references a user directory, which is CA directory here. Okay, so so first thing first, to demonstrate the REST API for the export and import, so you can use any REST client, but for the simplicity purpose, we do have a Swagger framework client, which has been now part of the admin UI. So this is the easiest option to try out the REST API. So you can find the link to this to the UI of the Swagger is in the admin UI itself. So if you can see here on the bottom of the screen, so there is a REST API. So what I'm doing is I'm just clicking it in the new tab. All right, so this is the Swagger framework. So here you have got all the documentations for different categories. Yeah, but what I'm going to do now is, before you do any of these operations, right, so we can do get, post and all those operations, but before you do that, you need to have an authentication token, right? So without that you will not be able to perform any of these operations. So for example, so we have an SM agent. So in order to be able to do get, post, delete or any of these, you need to have an authentication token first. So so let me go back. Yeah, so to get the authentication token, so we need to first utilize this administrative token API, which basically it just does a basic authentication using your username and password, and gives you the authentication token back. The same is implemented in this UI itself. So if you see on the top right corner, so there is an authenticate button, which basically calls this API, administrative token API. So let me quickly try that out. So it is asking for username and password, which will be my site manager super user password. Right, and then authenticate. Okay, so when I authenticate using the administrative token API, it gives me a token which is valid for 15 minutes, and you can see the counter here. So I can use that token, the session token, and perform any of these REST call for 15 minutes. After that I have to renew the authentication token. Okay, I think 15 minutes would be sufficient for us. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is, as I want to do the export of this domain, so I go to the policy migration API. Okay, and I do have the export option here, right? So you can expand operation here, and it gives you the example values and model. Model basically have some additional documentation about what those parameters are. Okay, so let me try to use this. So when you click on this, it will get copied over here. Just expand. Okay, so here so this basically tells you the main object method. So I want to export my domain, right? So what will be the export type? So it will, you can choose edit, replace, overwrite, or overlay, and the closure objects method, it is for the reference object, like if you have agent and user directory linked to a domain, so what will be the export type, so you can define that. Passphrase is basically the export file passphrase, so so you need to provide that passphrase while during the import as well, and suggested file name is just the export file path. Alright, and finally the object. So path, basically you have to give the path of the objects that you want to export. Okay, so the easiest way to find the path of the object that you want to export, in our case domain, is going to, okay, so I'm going back to this one, policy data API core objects. So the purpose of going here is to find out the path, right? So policy core objects, and we are interested in exporting the domain, so I went to that SM domain, and the perform that operation that I'm trying to perform now is getting domain. So I want to know the path. Okay, so I did a get, and so basically this is the standard call. I just do try it out. So basically this will invoke the REST API, and I now have the response. Okay, so it listed out couple of domain objects, and the one that I'm interested to export is the test domain, which is here, and you can see it here, right, the path. So this is the one that I need to specify while I want when I try to do the export. So I just copied this path. So this is basically standard. So the object class SM domains followed by the domain name. Yeah, but if you do not know that, you can just go perform the get operation and copy the path from here. And now I have copied that into my clipboard. So now I go back to the policy migration API, export and import. So I will do the export, expand operation. Okay, and then I copied these sample values again. So I want for this demonstration, I'll make it easy, simple, and keep the export type to 8 for now. Passphrase, it has to be numeric, some constraint, so I'll just give it interop at 123. Suggested file name, let's call it my domain.xml. So this is the output file, and path. So here you need to give the path that you just copied, which is SM domain / test domain. All right, so that's it. So yeah, so you already have the authentication token inside this one. So basically all your REST request will have this sent, this bearer token will be sent, and it's still active, so that is taken care. This is the only JSON data parameter that you need to provide for this export. Okay, so let's go ahead and do the export by using the Swagger framework. So to do that, you will just need to click this try it out button. So let's see what happens. Okay, so it did so here is the response code. So it was executed, response header, and it gave us this file. So in the response body, there is an actual export file, download export. So I'm going ahead and downloading this file. Yeah, so the same name that we choose, my domain.xml. So I'll save it. All right, let's go and have a quick look at the file itself, and let's see how it looks like. let me close my earlier other pages. Okay, so this is the file that was exported using the REST API, right? So it has got the agent type attribute, so anything linked to the linked to my domain. Okay, let me just search for my domain name. Alright, so this is the domain objects, and rest of the objects are the references to it. Alright, so that is how we export the domain. So now what I will do is I will try to import that, but to see whether it's really imported or not, we need to either import it in different policy store, or for simplicity what I'll do is I will go ahead and delete the domain from my policy store using the admin UI. So I'm going ahead and deleting this test domain. Alright, so domain is deleted. Let me go ahead and delete the reference object as well. So I just have two reference objects. So one is the directory, and the other one is the agent object, which is associated with the realm. So I'm going ahead and deleting that. Yeah, so right now my policy store is clean. I do not have any references to that test domain. I do have the XML file that I imported, that I exported using the REST API. So now what I will do is I will go back to the Swagger and I'll import that file using the import API, REST import API. So I'll go back to this. So my session is still valid for another 7 minutes. So I go to the policy migration API and we just did the export. So this time I will click on import. So that's the URL. I'll do the expand operation. Alright, so in case of export, so what it says is only the parameter that you need to give is the XML export file content prepended with the passphrase that was used. So I already have the export file content, so I'll just keep it here, copy and paste here. But then I also need to provide the password, right, with which it is encrypted. And the way you need to do that is it has to be the first line in this box for this operation. So I just put a new line character and give my password that I gave during the export. So enter op at 123 and followed by the export file. Alright, so now that's it. So there is no other option, no other requirement. So I still have the BERA token, which is still valid for another 5 minutes now. So let me go ahead and post this REST request, which I can do using this try out button again. So let me go ahead and click that. So it is performing the operation. So this is the request that it sent. Response body, there is no response body. So response header is response code is 200. There is no output this time. It's just the import. So it looks like it went fine. Let me quickly have a look at the log on the policy server side. Alright, so yeah, it looks like it got the request. So this is the current time, 30 policy data objects imported. Okay, let's look at the admin UI and see whether it got imported or not. So I go back to the domain. Here we go. So we have the domain imported with all the objects as it was. Responses, rules, and let's see the directory. It has to be there because there is a reference to it here. Infrastructure directories. Yeah, this is the directory and the agents. So that's it. So that's how that's a quick way to test the REST API framework using the the Swagger, the inbuilt Swagger framework, which is deployed along with the admin UI. Alright, so if you have any questions, you can ask me in the community web post. Thank you very much.